My name is Kazamarie Erzman. I'm 23 years old and I live in Pittsburgh.
I read the script and I immediately fell in love with the character, knew that that was the one that I wanted to be.
I relate a lot to him in a sense of like I can see a lot of myself and his sarcastic humor and everything.
They clue me in on the little daytime TV skit going on here.
But it also speaks to me that I think it's intriguing about the world that he lives in, and I wonder about how, even though I can relate to him, would I be able to make it happen in this type of world? Because I know that for me, could never see myself hunting vampires, but I think that he's pretty cool and I like that.
Becca, she's really fun because she actually gets to blossom in this post-apocalyptic world, and we don't get to see much of that until very late in the movie, but it's exciting because she's a city girl and she actually gets to, become a vampire, and that's probably the worst case scenario for her, but I think it's interesting because she is just exploring all these new things, and it's not something that she probably ever expected, so it's all new, but it's also very challenging, and so that's exciting for me, is to be challenged by her challenges.
I try and get my giggles out beforehand, and then after that I just kind of sink back into my mind as far as I can go.
Step back a second.
Why? And do the best I can at putting the situation into something that I have dealt with.
That you need to start to identify, you need to feel, and you need to, I think you're not going to really enjoy playing a character, you're not going to give an accurate and believable performance unless you start to like them a little bit. Even the big villain characters or whatever, you gotta find a way to like them and make them part of you. And I think that's where great acting comes from, is when you start to really identify and associate with the character.
If I'm thinking my character will do this, my character will do that, I don't think that I'm doing it right. I have to be that character. And instead of thinking, oh, she's not having a good time, it's no, I'm not having a good time, or I have to be her in order for it to feel true. And so thinking about her mental processes through all of this has been kind of what I've been focusing on, to make sure that even just that little detail in her eyes carries through. So.
My name is Hannah Sprunk. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm director of photography. I told you, I can't think today. My brain forgot how to think. Because it's post-apocalyptic, it's cold, it's lonely, desolate, so we're trying to portray that through lighting, camera angles, camera movements.
I believe this is when Alex is talking to Jamie, and he's figuring out her situation. She's explained to him that she can't find her sister. She's worried about her. She's seen her, die already. She doesn't want to see her die again.
Different sorts of lights and filters. We've been using a shoulder rig too for moving shots.
The processes I went to go through for this character specifically was play a lot of Fallout New Vegas. Once I knew the setting, that was the first thing in my Xbox. But she was alone for a lot of time, so a lot of thinking about being alone, cold, hungry, not eating.
Do you have any spare food?
I actually was sick the week before I played. I got to do this role, and I thought about being sick and her perspective, and just not being able to eat, or regurgitating the things that I had eaten because I was so sick. And that was interesting, because thinking about how, if I didn't have the comforts that I had at home, I would have been completely miserable and probably would have died.
For me, it's all about identifying what my character wants and needs and has to have in that moment and in their life and everything. And so I just try to go moment by moment and think about it.
My favorite scene is when she actually gets bitten, because I'm gonna have to scream so loud, and then I get to Hulk out and be this vampire, and then I get to become the Half-Blood afterwards, and that is most amazing. So, and that's where she actually blossoms, and she gets to be that, the catalyst of all of the events that have happened, and just, she was dying and she was without her sister, and now she's a vampire, and I can't imagine what that would be like. But that's my most favorite, because I get to be tied to a tree and just Hulk out. So
Probably the scene that we actually did last night, the one by the fire talking about the process of how we're going to save Becca, because I just feel like it's very emotionally like that's what has to happen. It's kind of the one that everything leads up to and everything else is based off of.
I kind of threw that away when I was just reading it. I didn't realize how much I liked that scene, but I really do, because I realized that like how that's the scene where the world really comes to life for me.
Well, Joe and I, the director, we go to school together. I also go to school with 2 of the other crew members. I haven't really worked with them before though. So that's a cool experience. And then I've never met anyone else on the set. But they're all really cool people. It's fun working with them.
Cut! That's a wrap!